40 29's anchor Brandon Evans, my co-anchor. He's live at XNA tonight. So Brandon, we know it might be busy there over the next few days.
Yeah, also Memorial Day weekend, one of the busiest travel periods of the year. We're at XNA, all quiet on the home front tonight. You can see just a few travelers here and there this time of night, not that busy, but that could change as we get closer to the holiday weekend. You know, officials at XNA say they believe they're ready for the holiday rush. A spokesperson tells us that they just had the busiest April and March in the airport's history. She says travelers, they do have options though if they want to skip those busy lines.
Number one, if travelers want to go onto our website, they can pre-book for parking at flyxnaparking.com before their departure date. Another thing that you can do is go onto our website. We have a brand new wait time estimation for security on our website under the terminal tab.
Well, you know, officials say you want to arrive at least 2 hours before your scheduled flight. They also say be patient, not just with the staff here, but also with your fellow travelers. Now, if you haven't been to XNA in a while, you might notice some things look a little different. That's because their massive overhaul construction project, you can't see a lot of it inside here, but is the terminal modernization. It actually started back in March. It is continuing as we speak. $34 million revamp's going to ultimately include more elevators, escalators, stairs, and several other upgrades. Crews actually have fences up in front of some of the entrances. So in all, a very, very busy holiday travel weekend. Tens of millions of people expected to travel. Maybe you're not flying, maybe you're driving. AAA says this Memorial Day, though, could be very busy, especially at airports. 2005, the last time they said it could be this busy. Now, following some of these recent travel disasters, delays, cancellations at airports, well, U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says the weekend will be a test of the system. He's actually particularly worried about the shortage of air traffic controllers.
It's a concern, and it's part of what motivates us right now to be putting so much emphasis on the recruiting, the hiring, and the training. We need to make sure that we have the workforce that's ready to have more of a cushion.
Now, Buttigieg says the FAA will not sacrifice safety to make sure that planes take off on time. He also blaming airlines for causing more delays than the controller shortage. So maybe flying's not your thing. Maybe you're driving somewhere. Well, there is some good news when it comes to that, when it comes to gas price. But first, let's take a live look, though. I-49 in Rogers. It's, you know, that time of night as well. Shouldn't be seeing much traffic out and about, but you're going to want to be careful when you're out driving for the holiday travel period. The next several days expected to be a lot busier. Now, good news, gas prices are down a little bit. Arkansas average $3.12 per gallon. Oklahoma $3.22. Gas prices overall down about 12 cents over the last month. Now, Franklin, Sequoia, Crawford counties, they have the lowest local average prices per gallon. Washington, Logan, Crawford counties, seeing some of the most expensive. So you also want to be careful if you plan to drive it all over the holiday period. That's because there are going to be extra patrols out and about. That's right, it's that time of year, the Click It or Ticket program. So be on the lookout for that. You know, when it comes to crashes, there were quite a few last year. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says in 2021, in fact, more than 220 Arkansans died in crashes, and more than half of those people who died not wearing seatbelts.
Yeah, if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you can certainly be pulled over. It's pretty important. Nearly 12,000 passengers in a vehicle were killed due to non-seatbelts. Yeah, when you put it to perspective, nearly 12,000 occupants in a vehicle died because of no seatbelt. And that's a pretty simple thing to do, is just to click it.
Now, officers will be doing those extra patrols through June 4th. Okay, so maybe you're not traveling at all. Maybe you're staying close at home. Plenty of things to do in Northwest Arkansas in the River Valley. Beaver Lake, always a popular destination. However, this year you're going to want to check ahead because there have been some closures due to E. coli. That's right. We're talking about the Arkansas Health Department, which says that is the case at Lost Bridge Marina, Beaver Lake Dam, even Lake Avalon in Bella Vista. So no matter what you're planning to do, staying at home, driving, flying, make sure, have a plan, give yourself some extra time, be patient, and of course, take some time to remember and honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice. We're at XNA. Back to you, Allison.
Let's bring in my co-anchor, Brandon Evans. He's joining us live in Washington County tonight. This is where the proposal took one of those steps. Brandon.
Yeah, Paige, the big issue at hand here is overcrowding at the Washington County Jail. And tonight, the Finance and Budget Committee got to review how they plan to fix it. That's jail expansion and ultimately a tax increase. And after much discussion, well, they did decide to give the ordinance a due pass recommendation, which means it would move on now to the full quorum court, which is scheduled to meet later this month. However, tonight's meeting was not without some controversy as things got a little heated during public comments.
Tell me about your plan. And you have this blank look on your face.
Because they don't have one.
That's out of order.
JP Real Senator, you're out of order. Will you please return to your seat?
Well, I'm
Ms. Gilmore, I apologize for not meeting your expectations, but we have to abide by the rules that we set as a quorum court.
Now, the ordinance calls for a 1/4 of 1 cent sales tax increase, or 0.25%, to fund the $113.5 million for jail improvements and the $28.5 million for juvenile court improvements. So, to put that into perspective for Washington County residents, if the tax increase is improved, basically for every $50 you spend, you pay about 12 to 13 cents more. Paige.
Okay, and you know, it seems to be a little bit of urgency surrounding this particular issue. This is night two nights in a row, I should say, where different committees have discussed this particular issue. So why do you think that is?
Well, Paige, the issue is they want to get it on the November ballot, but there's a very specific process that they have to go through, including 3 readings from the full quorum court. However, I learned tonight that if they have a supermajority that favors approving that proposal, well, they could do all 3 readings in one night.
And so those are the next steps. Now, if this were to make it on the November ballot, Brandon, you can break down a little bit what that cost looks like for county residents.
Yeah, Paige, so 12 to 13 cents per $50 purchase might not seem like a lot, but that's not the only tax in Washington County right now. In fact, depending upon what city you live in, it varies from city to city. So that's the big issue there. What we know, though, is that the tax increase will be the same if approved, no matter where you live in Washington County. We're live in Fayetteville. Brandon Evans, 4029 News.
Great information, Brandon. We'll talk to you at 10. Let's go to 4029's Brandon Evans, my co-anchor in Springdale. Brandon, you were at George Elementary School. This is where that school sustained significant damage, especially to the gym.
Absolutely. The gym's gone, Paige. Let's take a look at it. Crews have been out here, bulldozers, backhoes, bobcats, heavy machinery trying to clear all of the debris. Dozens of crews out here working throughout the day. And as Darby mentioned, it got significantly colder today. The rain has finally stopped, but the damage is done. And now they're just picking up the pieces. The good news is the school itself is fine. They had structural engineers go in. They determined that it is going to be safe. Kids can come back to school tomorrow. That is 600 plus students, 60 plus staff that were impacted. Not here today, obviously, but they will be back tomorrow because the school just some aesthetic damage on the outside, but the structural engineer said it is fine. So kids will be back, staff will be back. That is the good news. The bad news is PE class is obviously canceled for the near future because the gym is gone. Now we're going to talk to the Red Cross live here in just a few minutes about what they're doing to provide resources for the people who either lost their homes or lost their businesses. And we're going to tell you what are available to you if you are one of them. But for now, reporting here in Springdale, George Elementary School, I'm Brandon Evans for 4029 News.
We have 4029 anchor Brandon Evans in Little Rock with a look at what both sides of the aisle are expecting tonight. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, guys. Yeah, Governor Sanders, 40 years old, first woman to lead Arkansas, the youngest governor in the country. President Biden, 80 years old. Governor Sanders also expected to possibly touch on the push for a new generation of leaders. But as far as the State of the Union goes, I spoke with state lawmakers on both sides of the aisle about what they expect. We begin with what they anticipate from President Biden tonight.
I know he's going to talk about the job numbers because that's one of the few things he's got to brag about this last year is the job numbers. I hope that he talks about the border. I hope that he spends some time discussing the border, which they have failed miserably this year. And I hope he spends some time talking about inflation.
I expect President Biden to talk about his legislative accomplishments, between the bipartisan infrastructure deal, the Inflation Reduction Act, along with just the economy right now. I know there's a lot of concerns out there, and certainly we still face challenges. But we saw more than 500,000 jobs created in January, almost 400,000 jobs over each of the last 3 months, more than 12 million jobs in the last 2 years. I mean, that's really hard to deny how far we've come in just the last 2 years since he's been in office.
And with Arkansas in the national spotlight tonight, a big moment for Governor Sanders. I also asked those same lawmakers what they expect from her tonight.
I think she was born for this moment. She's quite a lady, And she's got a great heart. And she loves people, and she loves kids. And she's going to do whatever she needs to do to protect our kids.
I expect Governor Sanders to, try to show some contrast with President Biden. Obviously, they're in different parties. So she might not lean into the economic message quite as much, or she might point out some of those areas where we are still facing challenges.
And we're going to have more from other lawmakers, Republicans and Democrats, as they talk about what they anticipate from the governor and the president. That'll be coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. But for now, live in Little Rock, Brandon Evans, 4029 News.